Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Peter Dubois.
And I'm Beth Jones. First tonight, well, it's no secret it's been an active weather week here in Maine, and the latest system that came through has blanketed the state with yet another layer of snow.
Yeah, indeed, and all this messy weather definitely making road conditions slick across our region throughout the day. Here's a look from earlier on Route 1 in Stockton Springs, where fresh snow turned the road into a winter wonderland. Now taking a look at Bar Harbor, conditions on Eagle Lake Road were so bad, officials had to shut down the roadway for a period of time in order to make it safer for motorists. Then in Lucerne, the poor conditions backed up traffic for a long stretch of road along Route 1A, as you can see there. Yeah. Some vehicles having some difficulty as well.
Definitely some snarls.
Yeah, so...
Alrighty, well, we're going to go ahead and take a first look at our forecast. Yeah. Hopefully things are settling down for the rest of the night.
Thank you so much, Beth. Our first weather is brought to you by Saliba's Rug Cleaners, Maine's largest rug cleaning destination for over 70 years. Okay, another round of snow is pretty much in the area, but moving out right now. We do still have some lingering flurries. All the heavier bands of snow, those darker blue colors, are finally making its way out. So it's going to continue to move out of the state, and we will finally start to clear up. Visibilities are still a little bit low. We're at 1 mile here in town. Bar Harbor, though, 4 miles. Look at Waterville, 10-mile visibilities. That means the snow is starting to stop and really moving out of the region. We do have a light breeze out of the north, actually, blowing out around 8 miles an hour. Bar Harbor, 10 miles an hour. So not the strongest winds, but definitely blowing a little bit of that light, fluffy snow around. Our extended outlook for tonight does show lots of clearing temperatures, falling below freezing once again, so be careful out there for that morning commute. Beth?
Alrighty, Conrad, thanks so much. Well, after an hour-long deliberation, a decision has been made in the case of a Brewer man who was accused of shaking his baby to death. Our Matthew Jurancic has that story.
A jury ruled Ronald Harding guilty of manslaughter on Thursday at Penobscot Judicial Center.
Is Ronald Harding, the defendant at the bar, guilty or not guilty of the offense of manslaughter?
Harding was charged with manslaughter after causing the death of his 6-week-old son Jaden by violently shaking the child on Memorial Day in 2021. Kayla Hartley, the baby's mother, performed CPR on the baby prior to paramedics arriving on scene. Emergency crews transported Jaden to Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center, where the baby was pronounced dead. The jury reached a guilty verdict after defense attorney William Ash and Assistant Attorney General Leanne Robin delivered their closing arguments.
He knew better than to smack Jaden's head on the surface. The person who uses his adult strength to shake a baby or cause a baby's head to hit a surface is certainly reckless or criminally negligent.
In this case, the evidence has proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Ronald Harding is innocent. As he said, his son was everything to him.
The verdict was based on several factors, including medical evidence and testimonies from Dr. Jane Turner, a forensic pathologist from Vermont, and Dr. Liam Fuente, Maine's Deputy Chief Medical Examiner. The defense was also claiming the subdermal hemorrhaging on Jaden's brain could have happened days prior to Memorial Day in 2021. Harding is currently being held without bail at Penobscot County Jail and could face up to 30 years in prison. A sentencing date has not been set yet. In Bangor, Matthew Jurancic reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A man charged in a decades-old case pleaded guilty to murder this afternoon. Gerald Goodale was sentenced to 32.5 years in prison for the death of 20-year-old Janet Brochu of Waterville in 1987. Police say Brochu was out with friends on Christmas Eve but separated from her group and disappeared. Her body was found in the Sebasticook River in Pittsfield in March of 1988. Police say Goodale was part of the original investigation, but new evidence helped prosecutors bring the case to a grand jury. He was charged with her murder in 2021. Brochu's family members say they are happy with the sentence and that it will bring them some closure.
Justice was partially served. You know, of course, we all die and we all get judged, right? But again, I forgave him for his part, what he did to me and my family. And I also can say that for my uncle and my aunt, that they wanted to know for sure who did it. But I know what type of people they were, and they would have forgiven him too.
Goodale is already serving time for the 1988 killing of Geraldine Finn. Today's sentence will run concurrent with his present sentence. He could be released from prison in 2041 at the earliest. He will be in his 80s at that time.
Well, the Piscataquis County grand jury has indicted a Guilford man for attempted murder. 41-year-old Tori Littlefield was arrested in January of 2022 after police received a 911 call from a woman claiming Littlefield had assaulted her, shot at her, and threatened to burn their home down. The woman told police Littlefield woke her up because he was mad that the electricity in the house wasn't working. He allegedly shot at her 3 times. Penobscot County District Attorney Chris Almey says when police arrived, they were able to see bullet holes and found a shell casing. Littlefield was also indicted on a variety of other charges, including domestic violence assault, domestic violence criminal threatening with a dangerous weapon, and criminal mischief.
In other news tonight, the Maine Supreme Judicial Court set aside the sentence of a man convicted of murdering another man outside a Bangor nightclub. 37-year-old Rayshawn Moore was found guilty in the stabbing death of 25-year-old Demetrius Snow. It happened in the parking lot of the Half-Acre nightclub on Harlow Street in 2020. The justices upheld Moore's conviction. However, they agreed with his attorney that the judge in the case should not have considered the fact that Moore decided to go to the trial as a sign he had no remorse, which was a possible factor in his sentence.
Well, former Sullivan Select Board Chairman Michael Pinkham resigned from his board position and his role as harbor master on February 27th following the resignation of Sullivan Town Manager Stacy Tozier. Pinkham claimed that the job had become too stressful for him to continue, and he says he tried to make effective changes during his time in the role and that he didn't want to resign but felt it was the right call given the frustrations he was experiencing.
It's a very thankless job to be a public official in town. And the only satisfaction you get out of it is knowing that you're trying to do things right. And because you certainly don't, some towns you don't get paid to be selectmen. In Sullivan you get paid a small fee, but the amount of time that it takes and the stress that it puts on you to get everything done is just overwhelming.
Well, despite his resignation, Pinkham says Sullivan is a great place to live and he will continue to volunteer throughout the town in his spare time. He also says he hopes that the board will find a good candidate to fill the role.
The Maine AFL-CIO is speaking out after they say Maine Senator Angus King has been involved in bipartisan talks with other congressional members on the possibility of raising the Social Security retirement age. At a time when life expectancy has been declining for many Americans, it's, quote, absurd to even consider raising the retirement age to receive full Social Security benefits. Social Security is a critical lifeline for working class people. They also say age discrimination is a real problem, and so folks who, for one reason or another, have to search for a job in their 50s and 60s can encounter age-based barriers.
I think that if these senators and congresspeople had spent their lives working in construction or fishing or the logging industry, I don't think that they would be so quick to discuss raising the retirement age to 70 years old. Do we really want to force nurses, teachers, and restaurant workers to work until they're 70 years old before they can retire? People get burned out and exhausted. And just because you're still alive in your late 60s doesn't mean you're still able to work full time like you did when you were much younger. Mainers deserve to retire in dignity.
Say what Congress should be doing is looking for ways to strengthen and even expand Social Security, including lifting the cap on high-income earners. The Maine AFL-CIO represents the interests of roughly 200 labor organizations with more than 40,000 members.
Well, a federal court is allowing an active petitioner to weigh in on a lawsuit against his town. Federal Judge Lance Walker has granted Charlie Sidman the title of intervener in a lawsuit against the town of Bar Harbor, following a vote that would limit the number of cruise ship passengers allowed in the town to a maximum of 1,000. A group of local businesses filed a suit against the town to overturn that decision. Sidman was an avid supporter of the regulation and says he filed to be an intervener in the case, to be the voice of all those in the town who voted in support of limiting cruise ship passengers.
We are now at the table. We have a full-fledged seat at the family table. We participate in any mediation. We participate in discovery. We participate in fully if it gets into a courtroom.
Well, at this time, the lawsuit is still pending in court and the limit remains in place. Sidman believes that the court case could be resolved by next fall.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, we'll hear from a student of the Bangor Literacy Volunteers on what the organization means to them.
And the Fishermen's Forum was in person for the first time since 2020. We'll have the details there as well. The stories and more local news when we come right back.
Sure, the driveway looks good now with the snow on it, but you know what will still be under there in the spring? The same cracks, crumbles, and potholes that were there before winter. Call Eaton Paving today. Let's make an appointment to fix those problems when the weather is ready. Eaton Paving and Excavation.
Belanger's Drive-In has been locally owned and operated since 1974 and has always been a staple of the local community. At Belanger's Drive-In, we've gone out of our way to make sure there's something to satisfy every kind of appetite. With more than 85 items on our menu prepared daily with the freshest ingredients. It may be hard to choose, but it's impossible to end up hungry. Located at 84 Main Street in Fairfield, stop in and see us, closed on Mondays. Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage, doing business the right way every day.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
With the state of the bloodline in question, how will Roman Reigns handle the situation with Jey Uso? An all-new Friday Night SmackDown, live at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox.
Sure, the driveway looks good now with the snow on it, but you know what will still be under there in the spring? The same cracks, crumbles, and potholes that were there before winter. Call Eaton Paving today. Let's make an appointment to fix those problems when the weather is ready. Eaton Paving and Excavation.
Coming up on Good Morning Maine, we'll get all the details about the Fishermen's Forum that occurred in Rockport. Plus, there's been a resignation of a town selectman in Sullivan, and we'll hear from a student of the Literacy Volunteers of Bangor. They're hosting one of their biggest fundraisers soon. All of these local stories, plus your snowy radar weather forecast, coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Welcome back. 2 dogs are doing okay after falling through the ice in Kittery. Firefighters were able to rescue them within just a matter of minutes. The rescue happened on a pond just off Route 236. It was just after 1 this afternoon when the pups spotted some geese out on the ice. They weren't on a leash, so they took off running. The dogs broke through the very thin ice, and their handler initially thought about going out there himself, but realized it wasn't safe. That's when the fire department was called in to help. The fire chief says they go through constant training for these types of situations, especially because the ocean is right there and there are so many ponds in the area too.
A lot of people think the only thing we train on is how to fight a fire. It's much more in depth than that.
One thing I learned is to make sure to zip up the rescue suit all the way because I got soaked. So that was a good learning moment for me.
Well, this was Leiden's very first rescue and definitely a learning experience all around. He just got trained in this a couple months ago. The man who was out here with the dogs says that they are warming up tonight by the fire. He's very thankful for those first responders.
Alrighty, well, a local community initiative is still looking for donations to help dreams come true. The Cinderella Project, based out of the Waldo Community Action Program, is in need of more plus-sized prom dress donations. According to the president and CEO of the Maine Cinderella Project, Donna Kelly, all donations are welcomed and can be dropped off at any Days Jewelers location.
The goal of the Cinderella Project of Maine is We want to promote self-esteem and positive body image, and we welcome any student to these events. We're LGBTQ plus friendly, we welcome all students, and we want to make sure that there's a wide variety of dresses for everybody to choose from.
Right now, the Maine Cinderella Project is gearing up for its first giveaway event, which will be at the Wentworth Event Center on April 15th. If you don't have any dresses to donate but would still like to help out the cause, monetary donations can be made through the Waldo Cap website.
An important Maine industry event is back in person for the first time since 2020. Our David Ledford reeled in those details.
All right, we're having a bit of a technical issue with that story, but in other news tonight, Maine Literacy Volunteers of Bangor is dedicated to helping folks learn to read and write no matter their age or ability. And tonight we have a chance to highlight some of the work that they do. Meet Cindy Duell. Up until 7 years ago, Cindy had a hard time reading and writing. She says she was bullied and called names throughout her childhood, and she entered foster care at age 16. Then a year later decided to quit school. Then one day her husband saw a commercial for Literacy Volunteers of Bangor. She found her tutor there, and today she is one of many success stories, and she says literacy volunteers have changed her life.
I get to read different books. I can read prescriptions now. I can read stuff at the grocery store. I can read instructions on a bag to cook something. My life is awesome. It has gone from I want to say living in hell to living in this happy, beautiful world.
Literacy Volunteers wants you to know it's never too late to learn to read and write. So head to lvbangor.org to learn more.
All right, and back to that last story we just tried to bring you on the Fishing Forum with David Ledford.
The 48th Annual Fishermen's Forum kicked off on Thursday at the Samoset Resort in Rockport. The event brings together fishermen, scientists, and seafood dealers from across New England to discuss the latest issues affecting the industry.
It's a place to break down barriers and really get to know the issues much better in a more informal, laid-back atmosphere.
The three-day forum started with Shellfish Focus Day, which included seminars ranging from growing clams to offshore wind energy. Industry professionals also began prepping for the popular trade show, which will run on both Friday and Saturday. Some exhibitors spoke about the value the event brings to Maine.
I think our biggest goal with the Fishermen's Forum is to reach out to young people who are getting into fisheries and aquaculture and see how we can provide resources for them, help train them and get them the support that they need to start new businesses on the working waterfront.
New industry talks will take place each day, including discussions about Maine lobsters and endangered right whales.
The fishing industry and the commercial marine industry and aquaculture is so critically important to Maine. It is so important to our economy, and you can't take anything for granted. You really do need to participate. Honestly, don't take it for granted. Participate, participate, participate. And this is the place to do it.
The forum is also a family-friendly event through and through. Kids will be treated to an open family swim, movie screenings each afternoon and evening, crafts, and more. The forum will wrap up with a seafood banquet on Saturday. In Rockport, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
I like that there's a way to get the younger generations involved in that gathering. Never too early to start, educating them on the various heritage industries here in Maine.
Absolutely. It's really important because a lot of these people are, in working families and, may need to bring their kids along too. So having things for them to learn, but also enjoy doing. Yeah. And a seafood banquet to cap it all off, that sounds pretty great too.
Well, and so often, the fishing industries, again, they're multi-generational. Right. So, there's good chance those kids want to go anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
All righty.
Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, the president of Iran calls for an investigation into the mass poisoning of hundreds of schoolgirls at more than 30 schools.
And we'll have the latest out of the train derailment cleanup in East Palestine, Ohio. Those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
The housing market is a constant crisis phase, and in 2022, make sure you are the first to the closing table and get looped and get sold with Next Home Experience today.
It wasn't just a little bit of soot on an old family photo. It wasn't just a couple of books soaked in water. And when you called Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration, you were not just another customer. That family photo hangs high yet again, and those irreplaceable first editions stay cemented in history. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest. Statewide commercial and residential services. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration.
Say goodbye to lag times and death spirals with our crazy fast fiber internet. At GoNet Speed, we've dropped our prices on fiber. That means hello to fast fiber internet starting at just $49.95 per month. Or go up to 1 gig, that's 1,000 megabits per second, for only $69.95 a month. The lowest prices we've ever offered. No contract, no hidden fees, no joke. Visit GoNetspeed.com to check availability in your area.
Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Located at 84 Main Street in Fairfield at Belanger's Drive-In, we've gone out of our way to make sure there's something to satisfy every kind of appetite. With more than 85 items on our menu prepared daily with the freshest ingredients, it may be hard to choose, but it's impossible to end up hungry.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
Don't spin out or crash while trying to buy your new home this year. Contact the Next Homie today. Get looped and get sold, and let Next Home Experience get you to the finish line.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
As the reform protest movement continues in Iran, the country's president calls for an investigation into the poisoning of hundreds of schoolgirls in more than 30 schools nationwide. Fox's Alex Hogan has more from London.
Officials in Iran are ramping up what they call a major investigation after hundreds of students were allegedly poisoned at girls' schools across the country. Iran's president ordering the investigation on Wednesday. A growing number of officials are alleging that these girls are being targeted by religious groups that are trying to send a message against women's education.
In one of the workshops, there was a smell that was like the smell of paint. There was a similar smell on the next floor above as well, and we protectively evacuated the students.
It's not clear how many girls were sickened. One Iranian lawmaker puts the number at almost 900 children in 30 schools nationwide. Some of the most common symptoms include headaches, heart palpitations, and difficulty moving. The committee tasked with leading the investigation says it's, quote, comprised of the best toxicologists and university professors. But the U.S. remains skeptical about Iran's willingness to go after the powerful religious groups that are suspected in these attacks.
To poison girls who are simply trying to learn is simply abhorrent. It's an abhorrent act. We expect Iranian authorities to thoroughly investigate.
Meanwhile, the Iranian government is playing down the poisonings, with some officials suggesting that the U.S. is to blame.
Of course, our enemies like to cause disruptions in the country through their operations, and now they are once again showing up to play with the emotions of the Iranian people.
These incidents take place as protests continue across Iran, prompting a swift crackdown from the regime. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Meanwhile, America's top diplomat Antony Blinken had an unscheduled meeting earlier today with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov at the G20 conference in India. It's the first time they've seen each other in person since the invasion of Ukraine, and Blinken had this to say about their meeting.
I told the foreign minister what I and so many others said last week at the United Nations, and what so many G20 foreign ministers said today. End this war of aggression.
Secretary Blinken went on to say the U.S. will support Ukraine for however long it takes and will push for the war to end on terms Ukraine would agree to, and that despite the war, the U.S. remains open to engaging with Russia on nuclear arms control negotiations.
Well, nearly a month after a toxic train derailment in Ohio, Norfolk Southern CEO will soon have to face questions from lawmakers. Fox's Garrett Tenney has more.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine is now calling on President Biden to visit the site of that toxic train derailment in East Palestine. The request comes one day after the governor and EPA officials returned to view the cleanup efforts. DeWine says he's spoken with the agency about a recent study that found elevated levels of chemicals in the air.
What they tell us is that for the short term, this is no problem, should not be a problem. If that persists for year after year and people continue to breathe that, yes, it would in fact be a problem.
As the cleanup continues, neighboring states are expressing concerns about receiving toxic waste from the derailment. Federal and state officials say they're working to improve inspections on routes that carry high hazard trains.
FRA is identifying and prioritizing the routes that carry hazardous materials to assess rail infrastructure that detects potential safety concerns and prevents potential derailments.
Next week, Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw will testify about the derailment before a Senate committee in Washington. He's also been subpoenaed to appear before the Pennsylvania State Senate. Some East Palestine residents say they're hoping to get answers about the long-term effects of this toxic spill.
I feel like there's a lot of truth that is not being told. I know that this is affecting my children's bodies. I know that it is not safe in East Palestine for my children.
Ohio's governor says eventually there will be a fund set up by the railway to address any long-term health effects. In Chicago, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Well, the House Ethics Committee announcing Thursday that they've opened a probe into New York Republican Congressman George Santos. The committee says it will look into several unethical claims, including campaign fraud, violating federal interest laws, and sexual misconduct. The announcement said that just because the investigation will begin, it doesn't mean any violation has officially taken place. Santos's office tweeting out that he is, quote, fully cooperating with the investigation. Santos has agreed that he has lied about some aspects of his background, including his work experience and education, but he's denied any criminal wrongdoing.
After weeks of emotional testimony from more than 75 witnesses, it took just hours before the jury decided Alec Murdaugh was guilty in his South Carolina double murder trial. Fox's Lauren Blanchard is in Washington with details.
Guilty verdict.
Disgraced South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh is guilty of killing his wife and son and possession of a weapon in a violent crime.
Verdict guilty.
After just a few hours of deliberations,
verdict guilty.
The jury returned the 4 guilty verdicts.
Verdict guilty.
Murdaugh remained emotionless as the verdict was read.
And he may be taken away.
In handcuffs, he was taken out of the South Carolina courtroom. The defense attempted to ask for a mistrial. The judge said no.
The evidence of guilt is overwhelming, and I deny the motion.
The 6-week trial of hundreds of pieces of evidence and emotional testimony laid out how prosecutors say Murdaugh shot and killed members of his family in 2021 to shift attention as he faced financial ruin and fraud charges. Murdaugh's defense lawyers tried to make the case that, yes, Murdaugh lied, but he did not commit the murders. They blamed the state for overhyping the case against their client.
It doesn't matter who your family is. It doesn't matter how much money you have or people think you have. It doesn't matter what you think, how prominent you are. If you do wrong, if you break the law, if you murder, then justice will be done in South Carolina.
Murdaugh faces 30 years to a maximum of life behind bars without parole. He will be sentenced Friday morning. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, we'll have a story on the harsh winter weather from around the country.
And in sports, led by underclassmen, Ellsworth Girls Hoops prepares for their first state title game in more than 30 years. We'll be right back.
Adama Sanogo leads the Huskies against Caleb Daniels and the Wildcats.
What position?
UConn, Villanova, Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox Primetime Hoops.
Toyota's all-wheel drive vehicles not only conquer the elements, Toyota conquers its competitors by sheer selection. You see, Toyota has 20 different all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive models. That's more than Subaru, more than Honda, more than Jeep. Conquer most anything with the adventure-seeking all-wheel drive RAV4 or the powerful all-wheel drive RAV4 Hybrid, both with Toyota Safety Sense technology included. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
The Sebec Lake House proves that Days World is ready for any challenge. The client had very high standards for this entire project. You can tell by Sebec Lake actually being in granite in the floor. Days World had to match those high standards, and we did with the Mitsubishi electric equipment that we carry. They didn't want any diffusers on that first level.
You cannot see the diffusers anywhere, just like they promised. We trusted Dave's World with this project, and we're very pleased with the results, and I'd highly recommend them.
If you're waiting for a sign that it's time to finally tackle that window project, here it is. Renewal by Anderson's incredible window replacement days. Get all the benefits of Renewal by Anderson's exclusive and easy replacement window process. And save a lot of money while you're at it. An immediate design consultation, exclusive Fibrix composite material windows, and precise installation by highly trained certified master installers. You get it all during Renewal by Anderson's window replacement days. Call Renewal by Anderson today and take advantage of this limited time offer and special financing.
Comfort Shoes and More will make winter easier. Next Grip men's and ladies' boots feature cutting-edge technology to make walkways a breeze. Corkers are made with interchangeable soles to conquer the roughest winter conditions. Navitec with the flip it and clip it spikes make you confident no matter what the conditions are. Bruce McDonald's trained podorthist will make sure the fit is perfect for you. See why thousands of people have trusted Comfort Shoes and More for all of their footwear. Take the drive today to Comfort Shoes and More in Newport.
Hanks Husqvarna is your full-line Husqvarna dealer with 2 convenient locations, 32 Old State Road in Carmel and 19 Moosehead Trail in Newport. Whether it's tractors and zero-turns, chainsaws to trimmers, or pressure washers to snow blowers, everything is set up, serviced, and ready to go by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or sales, stop in to Hanks Husqvarna, Carmel or Newport.
Welcome back. An acting legend teams up with Netflix. A Grammy-winning singer announces new music and more. Here's Fox's Kristen Goodwin with the latest from the Hollywood Nation.
Sheeran makes an announcement. De Niro streams, and a new game show arrives in the Hollywood Nation.
Meryl Streep.
Yep. TMZ is putting people's celebrity knowledge to the test in the new game show, Who the Bleep Is That? It will be hosted by comedian Jeff Dye and feature contestants answering questions on pop culture in hopes of winning the grand prize of $5,000. The game show will have a 4-week run on Fox stations in 12 major markets, including New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Dallas, starting March 6th. Robert De Niro is heading to Netflix. The 2-time Oscar winner will star and executive produce the streaming giant's new limited series, 0 Day. According to Variety, he will play a former U.S. president. The political thriller marks the acting legend's first TV series. Ed Sheeran delivered good news to his Cheerios. The Grammy-winning singer announced on social media he's releasing his new album, Subtract, May 5th. It will be the last installment in his decade-long mathematical album era.
Mathematics is the language of nature.
And Darren Aronofsky's debut feature film, Pi, is heading back to the big screen. The director will celebrate the 25th anniversary of the psychological thriller with a Pi Live Day experience. The special one-day-only event will take place in Los Angeles and feature a Q&A with Aronofsky, actor Sean Gillette, and other guests. It will be followed by a screening of the restored film. In Hollywood, Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Well, switching gears now, communities in the West are still dealing with heavy snowfall, strong winds, power outages, and dangerous road conditions from a series of powerful winter storms. Fox's William LaJeunesse has more from Los Angeles.
The snow just won't go away. A major winter storm still lingering over much of the West, just days after a different system brought high winds and massive snowfall to multiple states. Among the hardest hit, San Bernardino County, just east of Los Angeles, where Monday officials declared a local emergency, still in effect as stranded residents deal with property damage and dwindling supplies.
Plowing is going to continue over the course of the next several days, upwards of a week, back into some of our communities. We need our residents to help take care of each other.
Further north, heavy snowfall closed Yosemite National Park, up to 15 feet falling in some areas, making most roads impassable. But some park rangers say that's not necessarily a bad thing.
What we always like is a big snowpack, and that's cold, because what happens, we kind of look at it like a bank. You know, you bank all the snow up in the high country, and then in the warm weather, the water comes down.
All that snow and wind keeping utilities busy. About 80,000 customers in California are still without power as crews work to restore service. And in warmer areas, rain is causing major flooding, prompting new warnings that residents stay off the roads.
What did Puxatawny Phil say? We were supposed to have 6 more weeks of winter or something? Yeah, I guess we're getting it.
The storm system is now heading into the Rockies, where it is expected to bring ice and snow to the Midwest and Northeast, and possible tornadoes in the South. In Los Angeles, William Lajeunesse, Fox News.
Well, I'm not looking anything like that back here, and we're certainly used to getting heavy snow anyway, so I guess we're a little bit luckier that way.
Yeah, but just a shocking amount of snow for areas of California that rarely ever see any. So just some really shocking images out of there. But
yeah, you just hope they're figuring out a way to adapt.
Exactly. Well, we are in the midst of doing that ourselves. Another round on its way. So find out the details about that in our 5-day forecast coming up.
Stay with us.
No surprises here. Snow is in the region once again, and another round of snow will be moving on in. When and how much snow are we going to get? I'll have all the answers pinpointed coming up.
LiftMaster is the #1 professionally installed garage door opener. Can alert you if you left it open and let you close it from most anywhere in the world. And where's the best place to get your LiftMaster? From PDQ Door. PDQDoor.com.
We begin in the Pendleton Whiskey Buck and Shoot.
Ryan Solo has a lot of intensity.
The kick on this one. Get to the 8. All day long.
When the Coach House Restaurant wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. The Coach House Restaurant, family dining at its best with fine home-cooked meals, delicious homemade desserts, and a large menu of tasty offerings for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Bangor Brewer bowling lanes on Wilson Street in Brewer, featuring 24 lanes of candlepin bowling and a big arcade room where kids can win great prizes. Glow bowling on Saturday nights from 7 until closing. Bring your entire family. A fun entertainment for all ages.
Toyota's all-wheel drive vehicles not only conquer the elements, Toyota conquers its competitors by sheer selection. You see, Toyota has 20 different all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive models. That's more than Subaru, more than Honda, more than Jeep. Conquer most anything with a tough Tacoma 4x4, the best-selling midsize pickup for 17 years, and named best truck among midsize pickups. See your New England Toyota dealer, your all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
LiftMaster is the #1 professionally installed garage door opener. Can alert you if you left it open and let you close it from most anywhere in the world. And where's the best place to get your LiftMaster? From PDQ Door. PDQDoor.com.
The NASCAR Cup Series rolls into Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas, baby.
Where to win, you gotta go for broke. Sunday at 3 Eastern on Fox.
And our main weather today is brought to you by C&K Variety. Stop by C&K Variety in Herman today for hand-tossed pizza, subs, salads, and more. C&K Variety, your local go-to convenience store. More snow. I feel like this is an ongoing trend. We are in a very active weather pattern now, folks. Winter weather advisories, they are expiring right now. There are still some winter storm warnings in effect till the morning hours. And then again, for another round of snow moving in, winter storm watches just south of town, Waterville, Augusta, into Rockland. There are some watches out there for possibly pretty significant snow moving in on Saturday. Okay, let's first talk about this snow event right now. It is starting to move out. Things are starting to clear up. Those darker shades of blue are starting to leave the state at the moment, so that's a good sign. Things are starting to improve. This is starting to wind down, and really more clearing will be continuing into those morning hours tomorrow. So by around 1, 2 a.m., we're finally going to be in the clear. And then we're going to be in the clear for maybe 12, maybe 16 hours. And then another round of snow moves in once again. Overnight Friday into the morning hours on Saturday. And last pretty much for most of the day on Saturday, and then once again into those overnight hours with those heavier and steadier bands of snow indicated right here. Those darker blue colors are definitely some stronger snow bands. So that's going to definitely be in the area, and we're looking at possibly several inches of snowfall in the region. Maybe even 4, 5, 6 inches, especially south of town where those watches have been posted. Temperatures, though, that's a different story. East Coast, especially down, though, New York City, D.C. into Raleigh, temperatures really feels like spring. For us, though, not so much. Our average should be in those mid-30s, and that's what we're pretty much doing. Today, same story. We were at 34 degrees. Bar Harbor was at 36. Waterville, same story. Greenville, slightly below freezing. Same thing in Millinocket. Temperatures at around 31 degrees. So like I mentioned, our average high should be around 36 degrees this time of year. So next day or so, let's say Friday, we're going to be in the mid-30s. A little bit cooler on Saturday as that heavier, steadier snow moves in. And look what happens. We climb that ladder once again. Temperatures coming close to 40 degrees Monday and then once again into middle of next week. Temperatures tonight, though, well above average, hovering at around 22. Flurries early and then really decreasing clouds later into those overnight hours. Tomorrow, a wonderful day. Lots of sunshine, kind of breezy conditions, though. But overall, though, temperatures near average for this time of year. Our extended forecast outlook does show snow will be back, pretty steady to moderate, even heavy at times, into those overnight hours. Temperatures around 16. Sunday into Monday, though, we are in the clear, ahead of more chances of flurries by Tuesday. Beth?
Alrighty, so the fun continues.
Indeed it does.
All right.
And sports is coming up next. Stay with us for that.
Who can you call when you need immediate help, any time of day or night? Always giving you and your family peace of mind.
AAA's legendary roadside assistance is a network with over 50,000 vehicles that respond to more than 32 million assistance calls every year.
If something happens and we're broken down, my family's not going to be stranded.
There are so many benefits to membership, and AAA is there if you're locked out of your car, need a tow, run out of gas, have a flat tire, or a dead battery.
You know, if you have one flat tire or one battery service, that membership fee pays for itself.
Wherever you go, wherever you are, you can trust AAA to be there when you need them.
Join today for less than $5 a month. We'll waive the membership admission fee. And as a special bonus, you'll receive a free 1-year membership for 2 additional eligible family members and a $25 Visa gift card. That's a combined value of $166 for only $55 for an annual membership. Don't wait another second. Call to join AAA right now.
Good luck to all the teams in the tournament from Century 21 Real Estate, Queen City, serving the greater Bangor area for more than 70 years. Good luck to the Orono Red Riots boys from The Local, your neighborhood marketplace, 153 Park Street, Orono. Reardon's Automotive and Diagnostics would like to congratulate all the teams heading to the finals for their hard work and dedication throughout this season. Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Engstrom's Auto Service in Guilford. We specialize in all foreign and domestic service and alignments.
Hey everybody, Ryan Sudol here. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start out on the hardwood with a little gold ball preview. Ellsworth girls are B North champs, and they'll play Spruce Mountain this weekend for a chance at their first state title ever. Getting there took some growth in more ways than one.
We're going for a gold ball. That's insane.
Ellsworth girls basketball is playing for their first state title in history this weekend after beating top seed Old Town in the B North final.
Well, I cried, but there are tears of happiness. I mean, it was really exciting. It was very overwhelming.
It was a back and forth affair all game, but a late run sealed the victory for the Eagles.
It was crazy to pull ahead in the last minute, so it was a lot of emotion and a lot of just not processing what had just happened. It didn't really hit me until a couple days after that we had just won another main championship.
But they did, not without some adjusting. The team's lack of experience showed at the start, but in the latter half of the year, the chemistry bloomed. 7
sophomores, 2 freshmen, 2 juniors, and a senior. So very, very young, very inexperienced, and that was my biggest worry.
We didn't really trust each other with the ball. It would be 1 or 2 people scoring, and now it's everyone scoring.
And that growth on the court as players led to even more growth off the court as a family.
This is the closest team I've ever been on. Everyone really likes each other. Everyone's best friends. We're sisters, and it's great. And that's a really big reason of why we won.
That and the legion of Eagles fans that flocked to the Cross Center to see their girls play.
We had so many people show out for us, and I am honestly so grateful for that because we always have trouble getting people to come to our games.
Everyone's always at the guys' games because they're very good, but it took us a while to get the recognition I think that we deserved.
And winning the gold ball would be the ultimate way to cap off an unbelievable season.
It would mean everything to me. I honestly do believe we want it more. I've been watching a lot of Spruce Mountain game tape. We don't know a lot about the team, so we're just kind of preparing for everything that could possibly get thrown at us and just sticking to what's been working and have a lot planned, and it's going to be great.
Of course, we wish the Eagles good luck in that game. Ahead of the state championship game matchups, which tip off on Friday, Tyler Cruz was joined by Big Time Hoops Maine's Greg Levinsky to break down some of those games. Check it out.
Welcome back into One-on-One. I am joined here by Greg Levinsky. Greg's been working with Big Time Hoops Maine all year, podcaster, columnist, you name it, he does it. Greg, thanks for coming on with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
So ahead of these state finals matchups is being recorded on Wednesday, Class A on Friday. We'll start there. We'll just go in order of what's going on. The girls first, that is Lawrence and Brunswick. Brunswick's been a wagon all year. Lawrence, great game against Gardner. What do you see from that matchup? What's it going to take on my side, what's it going to take for the North to win?
Yeah, I think the problem for Lawrence or any team facing Brunswick is that Brunswick doesn't have an A1 superstar. They just have a lot of really good players. So stopping them is going to involve stopping them as a team. So for Lawrence, it's really playing that team game. And it's kind of opposite of that Gardner game, right? Where in Gardner, you need to figure out what you're going to do with Lizzie. You either let her go off and stop everyone else or try to stop Lizzie and then let everyone else do their thing. And this is kind of the opposite. So I think it's going to be a really big defensive effort for a team like Lawrence to come away with this victory in a game against Brunswick. And I think if you're Lawrence, you want to slow Brunswick down a bit if you can, but you don't want to play it too slow because Brunswick's got a lot of size and length, and they can do the milk the clock thing too, like we see a lot of teams try.
Milking the clock is always fun, but we'll move on to that A boys game now. I was talking to Brewer earlier in the week. They said Falmouth is kind of similar to Skowhegan in the pace that they play, but they're well coached. They have good strategy. What's it going to take for the Witches to grab that first gold ball in program history? And then for Falmouth, too, rebounding off of the gold ball loss. This is going to be a great game.
Yeah, it's called the Cooper Flag Revenge Tour without Cooper Flag, right? Because he's off to greener pastures doing his thing at the highest level. But both of these teams lost to Cooper Flag en route to the ending their seasons last year. Of course, Nokomis in the regional, or Nokomis beat Brewer in the regional final. Then Falmouth loses in the state championship game. For Brewer, I think they just have to play how they've played pretty much the whole year. We've been nitpicking their one loss, and which is crazy because they have one loss and they've crushed every team that they've really had a tough time with early on. They had that Messalonsky game that went into overtime, but then they lose to Skowhegan and they blow them out. I think Brewer just needs to play how they play. I think that they are bigger than Falmouth at almost every position, especially because Chris Simons for Falmouth broke his foot in a practice before the playoffs. He's their 6'6" big guy who was pretty good. Again, I think in this case, it's the orange and black team that's favored a little bit, but obviously that's Brewer. I think Brady Saunders should be Mr. Basketball this year if they win the state championship. He just needs to do his thing. He's been so efficient. And then, guys like Brock Flagg, Evan Neto, Ryder Goodwin just kind of need to fill their roles and play their game, and they can really contend with anybody.
And on Saturday, that'll wrap up Friday. I'm excited for those. I'll be in Augusta for those.
Yeah, me too. I can actually meet you in real life. Let's go.
Let's go. I'm pumped for that. That's awesome. I might be in Portland Saturday, too, depending on the weather. So it could be back-to-back.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's stay with the boys now. I'm excited for that B game, Orono Oceanside. A lot of people expected, I know you were talking to me about Chance Mercier right before that game. A lot of people expected Ellsworth. Orono kind of just showed they proved something. What is it going to take for them to keep that rolling?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to keep up in the track meet with Oceanside. You know, Oceanside, when they want to play the way they play, they score like 80 points a game. So Pierce Walstons of the world are going to have to do their diligence defensively on Cohen and Carter Galley and the rest of those boys from Oceanside. But I think that Orono has a good chance in this one, you know, knocking off the undefeated Ellsworth team and really playing, it sounds like, team ball. Can get you really far in a tournament.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. In the other Class B game, two teams that not a lot of people probably expected there, Spruce Mountain and Ellsworth. Just real quick, who's the favorite in the battle of maybe not underdogs, but the two teams that probably weren't picked on the brackets?
Yeah, I mean, Ellsworth feels like they're here a year early almost because all their players, for the most part, are freshmen and sophomores. Spruce Mountain, again, though, not terribly senior heavy. God, picking it. I don't even think I could pick a favorite in that one because you really don't know what to expect. I mean, I want to say the favorite. I want to say, I don't know. I mean, I think it's Spruce Mountain just because they had knocked off Oceanside, and everyone thought Oceanside was going to roll to a state championship. But that being said, I mean, Ellsworth knocked off undefeated Old Town. So, God, I don't know. I think that one's the toss-up to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Ellsworth plays a really fun style of basketball. I think they set a B North program record for three-pointers, which is interesting. In C, you have Dexter, who could pull it off, and then Callis has been on a roll on the boys' side. Just what do you see from those two C games in Bangor?
Starting with the girls again, I think it's going to be a matchup of contrasting styles. I think Elise McNair may be the breakout or the player of the tournament across all classes. I mean, she's averaging like 30 points a game and the team scores 40. But I know Dexter is a team that really prides itself on its defense. So I think that it could be a really interesting game. See what they draw up to stop Elise. On the boys' side, man, Jace Cook's been balling out. I mean, he has like 40 points every game. Yeah, I mean, I think that why not ride Callis, I guess. You know, they've had a great year, and Jace Cook seems to be a big game player and puts up big game numbers. So I'm excited to see kind of how that one goes as well. But you know, Dirigo reigning champs. So you know, Charlie Houghton had a huge game in the regional final. So that one could be good.
Yeah, Dirigo, I mean, a big shot chuck for Charlie Houghton last year with the buzzer beater, a big game in the regional finals. That was probably one of my favorite ones. I'm excited for that. I mean, that'll do it for our state finals previews. I'll keep you on the line here for a second, but that'll do it for this edition of One on One. Ryan, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Tyler and Greg. Great stuff right there. Well, that's all the time we have for sports. I'm Ryan Sudol. We'll be back right after the break.
Tonight's Stock Report is brought to you by Maine Valve, with more than 30 years of experience across the state of Maine, providing top-quality real estate services.
Looking to buy or sell a home? The More True team of Better Homes and Gardens works throughout the state of Maine with both buyers and sellers with a focus on the greater Bangor area. Give the ladies of the More True team a call today or visit their Facebook page.
Maine is full of hidden gems, places off the beaten path, often inaccessible to many. Our offices, however, are accessible to all. We're the law offices of Joe Bornstein, and often it's easier if we come to you. From hospital rooms to living rooms, we've met over 25,000 injured and disabled Mainers in locations convenient to them. We're Maine lawyers working for Maine people and Maine people only since 1974. There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
Van Sickle Kia is Northern Maine's first choice for pre-owned vehicles. We have a great selection of quality pre-owned vehicles with payments and prices for every budget. Shop your favorite brands like Kia, Ford, Jeep, Toyota, Honda, Subaru, Volvo, and more, all serviced, state inspected, starting at just $99.99 with payments just $239 a month, only at Van Sickle Kia.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle, I guarantee you.
Are you looking to have some fun, including soaring on Skyrider, the ultimate indoor zip line? Well, come over to Urban Air, Bangor's #1 birthday party destination, located at the Airport Mall. Urban Air has gravity-defying attractions for all ages, including our Warrior Course, trampolines, enormous arcade section, and climbing walls. Call us today to schedule your birthday party. And don't forget, we have endless play memberships available as well. Urban Air, let them fly.
your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Come visit Candor Cafe inside the Bangor Mall, where your fresh and healthy meals are made for you by a certified nutritionist. We also offer plant-based and gluten-free options. Stop by and see us today. Candor Cafe inside the Bangor Mall.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
Looking to buy or sell a home? The More True team of Better Homes and Gardens works throughout the state of Maine with both buyers and sellers with a focus on the greater Bangor area. Give the ladies of the More True team a call today or visit their Facebook page.
This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Nissan is recalling more than 800,000 cars over a key defect that can turn off the engine. The recall includes Nissan Rogue models from 2014 to 2020 and Rogue Sport models from 2017 to 2022. Nissan says these SUVs have a folding key that struggles to stay open. If the key accidentally folds while in the ignition, the vehicle can accidentally turn off. So far, no injuries or deaths have been reported to Nissan because of this issue. The company has not come up with a solution as of yet, but once they do, the company says they'll let owners know. Meanwhile, owners are advised to not attach anything to their keys for right now to prevent a downward pull on them.
And finally tonight, Baskin-Robbins is offering up a new Southern fried flavor. Check this out. The company's March flavor of the month is chicken and waffles. It's the ice cream creator's take on the classic brunch meal, offering a sweet and savory flavor sure to tempt the taste buds. The company is even hosting a bottomless brunch in New York City on March 7th to honor the new ice cream flavor. The Baskin-Robbins chicken and waffles ice cream is now available at shop locations. I got a lot of questions with this one.
Yeah.
It's really piquing my interest. I love chicken and waffles. I think it's a great flavor combination.
Right.
But how do you make it work for ice cream? Like, are there real pieces of bits of chicken in it? I can't really tell by looking at it.
I mean, that's where I would get turned off because I enjoyed the sweet and savory concept for sure. And it beats the heck out of that mac and cheese ice cream you were forcibly compelled to try on the air.
I didn't mind it as much.
Yeah, you're gutsier than me. But I would draw the line at chicken bits in my ice cream.
Right, and I almost don't know what's more disturbing, real bits of chicken in your ice cream or like chicken flavored ice cream, you know?
That's a real toss-up, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Well,
and not an enjoyable one.
No. I mean, I would be intrigued to try
the waffle flavor, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Sign me up for the waffle and syrup flavor.
Yeah.
That would be delicious.
All right, well, we've made a decision here. All right, well, that's going to do it for us, folks, from everybody at Fox 22. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
For more local news coverage, switch over.
In some areas in the U.S., Native women are murdered at rates more than 10